Kratky Film Prague presents a film sponsored by the Skoda Automobile Works, Mlada Boleslav.
Yes, this is what they were like. Those daring men with their wonderful machines. Or the other way round. Daring machines and wonderful men.
Wonderful machines. Film production staff.
This was the turn of the century, the time modern machinery was being born, the era of inventors and pioneers of technology. It was thanks to them that distances were reduced and the world grew smaller.
These were the roots of the modern motor industry, and this is what the memorable race at Brookland might have been like in 1908, or many other races for that matter. The race was won by a Lorien and Clement car, driven by one Otto Hieronymus, who set a new record of 119 kilometers an hour.
The beginnings of that great era had been modest indeed. The company was founded as an obscure little works at Mlada Boleslav in 1894. First, bicycles were made. Later on, motorcycles. And in 1905, the first motor car was built.
The Voiturette. What a poetic name to give a car. For its time, the vehicle was the pinnacle of sophistication. It featured magneto-ignition, a 3-speed gearbox, and rear axle drive by propeller shaft, then still a newfangled device. Maximum speed was a handsome 40 kilometers an hour. The coachwork, with its pure, sweeping lines, has, in a way, kept its elegance to this very day. Through well-established outlets in Prague, Vienna, London, Germany and Russia, the company ensured international success and good sales of its cars.
A contemporary writer assessing the quality of motor cars from Mlada Boleslav, exhibited at the Prague Motor Show in 1909, said, "Czech industry has more than held its own, thanks to the names of Lorien and Clement of worldwide renown."
In 1910, Lorien started their successful export drive. They went to countries distant and exotic. Egypt, Spain, Mexico, Sweden, China and Japan.
However distant, the owners of Czech cars praised their sturdiness, reliability and safety, and obviously their good looks and fine equipment. All that spelled success for cars made by a modest-sized factory in unknown Bohemia.
The most popular car in Japan, the Lorin and Clement LC4.
The mayor of Tokyo, Baron Ozaki, being presented with a car from Mladá Boleslav. The years passed. New cars were designed and made. The most far-reaching change was the merger in 1925 of Lorin and Clement with the famous Skoda company. Let's take a short look back over all the wonderful machines made here. Power plows, tractors, racing cars, fire engines, ambulances. Designed and built by generations of engineers and designers, praised by the customers and by experienced factory test drivers. Other daring men won laurels with them on tracks all over Europe.
The years have not deprived them of their beauty. On the contrary, the sweeping lines of the bodies, the bright colors, all that combining into a balanced whole that brings back the nostalgia of the beginnings of modern technology. They are past their prime, but they have been given a new lease of life.
Let's return, though, to the story of the car factory. The 1930s were the years of the Skoda Popular and the more powerful Rapid.
This beautiful piece of work is the Skoda Popular convertible roadster.
And here is the famous winner of the 1937 Monte Carlo Rally and the Prague-Bucharest-Prague race of the same year. Very much the dark horse of European motoring, the Skoda Popular Monte Carlo.
The Popular and Rapid series were made famous by long treks to distant and inaccessible corners of the world. With his Skoda Popular, the traveller F.A. Elsner crisscrossed the USA and Mexico, covering 25,000 kilometers without a single defect.
The years went by. Post-war development brought unprecedented expansion. In 1954, a new Skoda model was launched, the 440, nicknamed the Spartak. It was later modernized as the Octavia, with a more sporty version, the Felicia, and an estate car version. The series was a huge success and strengthened Skoda's position on world markets.
The most sweeping modernization project was started in the early 1960s, with over 300 subcontractors, including foreign companies from a total of 14 countries. It was the largest single project of the country's engineering industry in those days, making possible the introduction of progressive technology and the latest methods used by the world's most advanced car manufacturers.
1969 saw the millionth car leaving the factory gate since manufacture started at Loudon and Clement. And that has brought us more or less to the present day. Soon, new manufacturing facilities were added, most notably the welding shop and the paint shop.
The well-known 105-120 series boasted a newly designed body and improved corrosion resistance, the result of a new process that includes a phosphate bath, electrophoretic painting, and an underseal of plastisol PVC. The paint shop takes up an area of 17,500 square meters.
By that time, the Skoda cars were being exported even to countries with advanced car industries of their own, such as Great Britain, West Germany, France and Italy.
The 1982 International Engineering Trade Fair. The launching of the sporty Skoda Garde.
One of the best performing cars ever made by the Skoda Automobile Works.
It was manufactured at the Skoda works at Kvassini, who went out of their way to meet the requirements of demanding foreign customers.
Time will not be stopped. Time keeps rushing ahead, bringing in its tide new problems and changes, and necessitating continued modernization. (1983). A successful head-on crash test of a new model in the Skoda 105, 120, 130 series at the Research Institute of Motor Vehicles, Prague. The results were excellent indeed. The calculations confirmed that the well-designed front of the vehicle absorbs up to 50% of the kinetic energy generated by the impact. That means a dramatic improvement in the safety of both driver and passengers.
The new models have attractive, well-deserved interest thanks to new structural elements with which they keep abreast of world trends. In addition to the redesigned front and improved interior, they feature technical improvements too. For instance, a wider wheel track, rack and pinion steering, 1300cc engine and a 5-speed gearbox.
Production has reached the maximum capacity, but cannot meet the demand. In 1983, 171,408 cars were made at Mladá Boleslav. At the moment, Skoda cars are exported to 37 countries. Among the socialist countries, the chief customers are Hungary and Poland. In Western Europe, Great Britain, Denmark, France, the Federal Republic of Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium and Finland.
The car that's most popular in Czechoslovakia has thus been more than a match for leading world car makes.
Results Skoda can be proud of. But what about the future? The rear engine concept of the 105, 120, 130 series has been a great success, and some car makers may yet return to it. But the front engine design has a number of advantages which have proved difficult to resist by leading manufacturers.
Following a decision taken by the government of the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic and concerning the further expansion of the manufacture of Skoda cars, an important conference has taken place at the factory. The participants will be making sure that the long-expected car, an entirely new concept with engine in the front, is launched in a few years' time. This is a difficult operation, both technically and financially, entailing a radical reconstruction of the production equipment. It's necessary to look far ahead and determine now what will be modern in the future.
Meanwhile, modernization continues of the present range. Skoda Rapid, 1984 model. A 5-speed gearbox, a 1300cc engine, and a number of other improvements. The redesigned grille has balanced the overall styling of the body in a functional and aesthetically appealing whole. The Skoda Rapid, an elegant car which is a sheer joy to drive and is safe and economical into the bargain.
Over 90 years ago, the foundations of the Czechoslovak motor industry were laid at the town of Mladá Boleslav, a great tradition that has resulted in present-day success. The celebrations of the 90th anniversary showed well-justified pride. After all, few car manufacturers can boast such a fine record of prosperity and balanced expansion as Skoda at Mladá Boleslav. The men and women at Skoda, workers, engineers, designers, and office staff, are all proud of their factory, one of the biggest in Czechoslovakia. Between 1945 and 1983, a total of 2,986,000 cars were made here.
Skoda and the motorsport have traditionally been closely linked. The achievements of Skoda cars in rallies have been making an important contribution to improving the standard mass-produced cars. The new rally model, the Skoda 130 LR, an excellent descendant of the successful Skoda 130 RS that finished first in the 1981 European Championships of passenger cars in circuit racing.
present-day Skoda cars have inherited all the best features of Skoda's 90-year pedigree. Skoda has always spelled quality, appreciated far and wide.
Skoda have always tried to build cars for the people. A no-nonsense, modest and reliable workhorse.
Elegance and economy. A car that suits every occasion, whether the sun is shining or it's hailing down. A car for young and old, for going to work and on holiday. A family car.
The very features that have made Skoda such a popular car in Czechoslovakia and abroad. Skoda cars have proved their qualities in both everyday and extreme conditions and situations.
They were wonderful machines indeed that stood at the cradle of the Czechoslovak motor industry. It is thanks to them and the people who built them that such a fine tradition was established. A tradition that is both a great help and a challenge that makes Skoda produce cars the company can be proud of, at home and abroad.
Tradition.
The present.
And obviously, the future.
A future in which the prime job will be to build a car of a new generation.
What will its appearance be? No, certainly not this. We've only picked one of the exhibits of this motor show. But one thing is certain. Skoda is going to continue its fine tradition of many years standing. Skoda is preparing a new generation of cars that will hold their own, both in Czechoslovakia and in the many countries, almost 40, where Skoda cars are exported.